With amazing captures like Dragonite, Gengar, and recently, as of writing for this video, Riolu, there comes a question that's on everyone's mind. What will Ash capture next? When will his captures end? In this particular video, I want to focus on what Ash will likely get and is expected to get if we consider a traditional team, so to speak. In a different video, the next video, I'll focus on what I would like Ash to get, or a little bit more detailed on that particular subject. So the first thing that I need to talk about is that this series is different than other series that has happened because Ash is doing a world tour of the Pokemon world. So yes, that means Ash is going to Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, Alola, and Galar, and any other region I may have missed there. So because of that world tour, in my opinion, I do think that Ash should at least capture at least 1 to 2 Pokemon from every generation. But first, before we go into what I would like Ash to catch in a separate video, let's go over what he has right now and what could be expected for Ash based on merchandise and theorizing and in regards to preview and anything else. So up front, let's talk about Dragonite and Gengar. They're pretty much done. All I really expect from them is to get a couple more battles. Dragonite can still learn some new moves, and maybe Gengar will replace Nightshade down the line. If only because I think Shadow Ball is the more interesting move. But who knows, maybe they'll keep Nightshade and get rid of Shadow Ball. I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see. And then of course, we do have to talk about this as a possibility. Maybe Gengar will Gigantamax at some point for a battle, at least once. Or maybe he'll even get a Mega Evolution for it. We'll just see what happens from there. Anyway, as for Riolu, I do think it's obvious where this is going. Ash is going to release it and catch this shiny Tyrogue he should have gotten from that egg. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. The episode preview makes that clear that I'm joking. Anyway, it's pretty clear that Riolu is going to be amazing on Ash's team and will evolve into Lucario and likely be one of Ash's strongest Pokemon ever. So that will definitely be fun and exciting, and I cannot wait. Especially if Ash's hypothetical Lucario ends up with either a Mega Evolution or a new form. My speculation currently right now, my theory is that Diamond and Pearl remakes will add another Lucario Mega Evolution to the games. Kind of like what we got with Charizard and Mewtwo in the X, Y, and games. You know, Charizard X and Y, Mewtwo, Mega Mewtwo X and Y. If only because we don't need to see Ash's Lucario with its own Ash Lucario form. It doesn't need to be like Ash Lucario, like Ash Greninja. And it doesn't need to be the same Mega Evolution that we've already seen with Corinna and everything. So hopefully we'll get something new for Ash's Lucario. But of course, this all depends on whether or not he'll get a Mega Ring to even begin with. We'll just have to see what happens with that. And of course, as a side note, it's also because he's not going to be in the Galar region, so he can't exactly Dynamax or Gigantamax all the time. So anyway, what's after Riolu? I do think it's going to be Sobble. Now, PokeFan has some information, and I'll discuss that aspect of Sobble in that particular video. But I do want to talk about the key important thing that we got from the episode's preview. I also will mention in the upcoming episodes video that I will be doing that some of this Sobble information will be discussed in this video. Only the PokeFan stuff will be mentioned in that upcoming episode's preview. So let's talk about the upcoming episode's preview in regards to Sobble. Ash is talking to Sobble and he says, "Want to come with us? You could go stronger with my team. I personally believe that's a clear indication of what's going to happen. I'll discuss a little bit more in regards to the upcoming episodes video later on with PokeFan. And of course, I do want to mention now, before the PokeFan, there was also a summary that listed that implied Ash was potentially going to go to Galar region to get a new partner, a new Pokemon, and it was in regards to Sobble and Morpeko. But also, just to keep in mind, it was also mentioning Go as well. And again, I'll touch this again later in regards to PokeFan because they really do bring it up. But since I do think Go will nab Morpeko, then that means in the context of that particular summary, I think Ash will be getting Sobble rather than Go getting both. But it's not confirmed at the moment, but it seems like that's what's going to happen. So until I'm wrong and everyone gets to laugh at me, yay. Anyway, I expect Sobble to fully evolve into Inteleon, and I feel like it's going to at least show off Gigantamax at least once. So if Ash is getting Sobble, then what do I expect Ash to get after that? I think we're potentially looking at Grookey. Now, some people have differing opinions on this, and all of them are valid, but I personally don't think some of them make sense. Outside of, you don't want Ash with Grookey, which is the fairest opinion that I can think for this. What I mean is, the reason Grookey is being speculated is because of the ending that shows Grookey next to Riolu and Duskform Lycanroc. A lot of people want to say this is just a coincidence, but I think it's too weird to be a coincidence. If it was a coincidence, then I feel like they would have Midday or Midnight Lycanroc over Duskform Lycanroc. Hence my issue with it just being coincidental. There is still the argument that it's a word game that definitely holds a lot more merit than it being a mere coincidence, though it's still weird that it's Duskform Lycanroc. I still can't seem to get over that. However, I would like to point out that in regards to it being a word game, that doesn't mean the animators or writers cannot be clever. Another reason why I want to point that out is why I just don't think it's a coincidence. Because the way that the ending shows Pokemon, it's if, you know how in writing, in like rhymes or poets or whatever, you get like couplets or whatever, like for this particular example, there will be A, B, A, B, where in writing, the groupings of A will have something similar, like a particular rhyme, and as well as the B's will have a rhyme. So the first A could end in like pickle, for example, and then the next line of A will be like nickel. Same with B or whatever. So the reason why I'm pointing this out is that the grouping of B is that they do share a common theme with each other, where it's not it's not the same as grouping A. And what I mean is, in the first group B, it's Metapod, Cubone, and Reboot, Pokemon belonging to Go. If we believe Grookey and Lycanroc are Ashes with Riolu, then that would be the same theme. But for grouping A's, the first and third scenes that we see in the ending, the first one is Togepi, Pikachu, and Cramorant. And then next we have Comfey, Yamper, and Chikorita. Now, my point is that they alternate from random to relevant to random to relevant, hence the A-B pattern I mentioned. True, this could be nothing, but I would still want to stick with that it's just a clever way of saying that Ash is going to get Grookey, and I'm going to stick with that until, Ash doesn't get anything from the Grookey line, or Koharu and Go do, and well, then I guess I'll be shrugging my shoulders at that point, I guess. So if Ash does get Grookey, for evolutionary purposes, I expect Grookey to fully evolve into Rillaboom, just because it'd be interesting to see Ash with Pokemon, playing an instrument, for example. As for why I see it fully evolving, and something I will probably touch in another video relating to this down the line, I don't have any plans right now for it, is that I personally do not want Ash getting any Pokemon this generation that remains unevolved. if we're going to believe Ash is going to be this ridiculously powerful trainer, beating the likes of Cynthia, despite the fact that in 4th generation anime, Cynthia curb stomped Paul in the most horriblest fashion with just Garchomp. And if Ash is going to go head to head with trainers like that, Ash is going to need power and kind of quickly. Sorry, Bulbasaur. As strong as you are, I'll take something like Sceptile or even Torterra over you any day. Though with Torterra, I would actually allow it to win. Thanks, Riders of 4th Gen. Thank you for that. I appreciate you treating Torterra like that. Anyway, unlike Inteleon, I fully expect Rillaboom to not be able to Gigantamax, even as a plot point that Rillaboom may have to come to terms with. Like, I don't expect Ash to have all of his Pokemon Gigantamax. We might even be pushing it with Pikachu, Gengar, and Inteleon as it is already. And on top of that, there's the whole suddenly Dragonite and Lucario could have Gigantamax forms. You know, it's like, I just personally would like at least one of them not to have their Gigantamax form. Unless Ash gets other Pokemon that can Gigantamax and they don't Gigantamax. That's fine. Anyway, so the reason why I just prefer Inteleon over Rillaboom in terms of Gigantamaxing is it's not that I don't like the really cool massive forest drum beating that we see from Rillaboom. I just think Ash using a Pokemon with basically a sniper rifle tower would definitely be interesting to see how that plays in the actual anime. And since the dub series apparently will be on Netflix, I'm hoping that we won't get very much censoring. It'll be a truthful and faithful dub. You know, barring, the Passimian episode. I don't expect that to happen, but whatever. Anyway, now, if Ash was going to get an additional capture after Grookey and that's it for the expected captures, there's just one more Pokemon that I think Ash will get, and that's Tyranitar. Tyranitar has gotten a lot of merchandise lately and seems to be seems to point more to something other than just being a Pokemon Gotcha of Team Rocket in Episode 3. I do believe this could hint at Ash getting Tyranitar down the line. And what I believe, and will hopefully be the case, is the return of that one specific Larvitar. Some people on certain forums believe this to be ridiculous and citing the whole Pidgeot fiasco as an example, which, if you didn't know, was the belief that Ash's Pidgeot would return due to the very odd transition scene of Pidgeot in the Go Catching Bug episode. And since Mr. Mime wasn't shown in the first Hoenn Battle Frontier episode that we got in regards to that episode, some of us, including me, thought Ash would use Pidgeot, to surprise everyone. Surprise, Ash is bringing Pidgeot back, finally, and then we would get something like that. And yes, I guess it technically, in hindsight, it made no sense. But personally, they were keeping Mr. Mime a secret for no reason at all. The second preview revealed Mr. Mime anyway, and pictures revealed that Ash was using Mr. Mime, and it ended up being in the second preview anyway. So it's like, what was the real point anyway? And on top of that, it's not like Mr. Mime is on Ash's team anyway. Just they're at the lab or part. So anyway, there was a difference. Ash only had Pikachu. Ash was supposed to use 2 Pokemon during that battle, and we had a weird transition. But I guess that's why the logic was flawed. We didn't consider Ash using Mr. Mime. Or rather, some of us didn't think it would be that obvious, since why hide it in the first place? Since Delia told Mr. Mime to stay with Ash. I guess the whole it's Ash's Mr. Mime was a surprise to everyone, I guess. Maybe that's what they were going for. Oh, by the way, Ash has a Mr. Mime that he's never going to use. Anyway, and the thing that makes it even weirder is, especially when we got the summary for the episode, it mentions Pikachu going up against Mightyena, which wasn't wrong. It just took place after Mr. Mime and Harry Ama. So, very weird, but weird. Just it was just weird. Okay, so anyway, back to Tyranitar if we can. The difference with Tyranitar potential of being Ash's Larvitar isn't that it's a clear sign that Larvitar is coming back, but rather our belief that it should come back, which is the issue that I have with people thinking it's like Pidgeot coming back. No, 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 no. We don't expect it to be Ash's Larvitar. We don't think it will be Ash's Larvitar. We would really prefer it be Ash's Larvitar if Ash is getting Tyranitar. In other words, we don't want a random damn Tyranitar just magically showing up and being caught by Ash because Ash saved it or whatever. How about a little bit more continuity than that? Especially when the argument being thrown around was implying that Larvitar and Tyranitar are different Pokemon like Ekans and Torterra. Larvitar and Tyranitar are of the same evolutionary line. Anyway, I guess I'm a bit frustrated because it made sense that Ash would capture a brand new Gengar rather than Haunter from before, because it would have been fully Sabrina's Haunter by now, or Gengar, so why even bring it back and give it to Ash as Gengar when it really didn't serve any real purpose or meaning outside of just teasing us in first generation? I mean, sure, it helped Ash get the badge in a ridiculous manner, but it was purely a plot device, not driven by character. Look, I'm just saying Haunter evolving and being with Ash wouldn't have been good. But I understand why they didn't bring it back, which is why I'm not sure why people would even bring that up as well. It's not like Gengar was the Haunter from before, so why would Larvitar be Tyranitar? However, I don't think you can say the same about Tyranitar and Larvitar. I and everyone will likely have to live with a brand new Tyranitar if that is even a possibility. But I must stress that it would be stupid for the writers not to bring back Larvitar if they plan on giving Ash a Tyranitar. Because let's focus on Larvitar's backstory, shall we? Ash got a Pokemon egg from Elm, likely because Ash got Phanpy earlier, and he ended up hatching a Larvitar that was mostly unresponsive. It eventually warmed up to Ash, but would only freeze up to any other Pokemon and people. However, I'd like to point out, unlike Bulbapedia, who insists that it used the move Harden, which it did not, though I'm sure now some Japanese-speaking person will be like, well, actually, great, thank you, but I still find that weird given that it was freezing as a personality quirk, not as a Pokemon move, but maybe I'm just wrong. Anyway, it eventually got through its issues and warmed up to people, primarily because of Ash and Co. finding out what the issue was. Apparently, poachers caused issues, and Larvitar as an egg dealt with some pretty traumatic issues, thanks to the power of Unknown and everything, and then eventually Ash just left Larvitar in the care of Larvitar's mother, which was of course the Tyranitar. But here's where my issue lies. Larvitar was basically Ash's Pokemon, with the exception of not being caught in the ball. We've seen other Pokemon like that, with apparently no Pokeball belonging to a trainer, at least for a long time. I guess the biggest example was Mr. Mime, though I do believe it can be inferred it was captured off screen even before its Pokeball was revealed, but still, it's not like it's not like people thought that it was a caught Pokemon, even when people thought when we thought it was Delia's Pokemon, like we had to assume that it was caught off screen if it was actually hers. So anyway, in regards to Larvitar, despite it not being official, there is some credence here, since Ash hatched the egg and he bonded with Larvitar. Larvitar could easily see Ash as its trainer, whether it's still a Larvitar or has since become a Tyranitar. Ash capturing any random Tyranitar when the story of Larvitar that exists, that was brought up in Sun and Moon, by the way, in a flashback, would just be a sheer disservice to the characters that while I will have no choice but to expect a brand new Tyranitar, I won't be happy about it. At least not completely happy about it. I mean, ultimately Ash will still get a Tyranitar, if that, so I guess that's something to be happy for, but I personally think it has to be the Larvitar from before. Anyway, there is a reason why I separated these in two videos, because looking at the time, this is almost 20 minutes, or about 20 minutes. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, that's my current speculation of what I expect Ash to get. Next, we have to go into what I want Ash to get, or what I would like to see. If you want to discuss things, feel free to comment in the comment section below. And so until then, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.